I'm Mike from St. Thomas Economic Development, and Grid, do you hear that? There's something going on the site, I can tell. Let's go check it out. All right, we're back on the site again with Harry from Amoco. How's it going, Harry?
Not too bad, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, the last time we talked to you, we were on a different part of the site. We're now off of the PowerCo site. We're further to the south. What work is going on here?
Yeah, so right now we're in the midst of constructing a rail over traffic bridge at the far limit of the site, or south limit of the site, and building the extension of the rail line from the CN main line up through into the PowerCo site.
Okay, so this is the rail line that'll connect into the rail yard further north. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Cool. Now, I see a big pile driver behind us. Is this you guys doing this or someone working for you? Who's this?
Yeah, so we're in the midst of starting our foundation work. So we've subcontracted and have worked before in the past with HC Matcon out of Ayr in Kitchener-Waterloo. So they're in the midst of driving piles to set the foundation for the structure. And then we'll bring in our self-perform concrete crews to start working with another subcontractor, Mansteel, to tie the rebar, pour concrete, and start bringing the structure out of the ground to make way for the structural steel. So this is a tub girder type system for the rail with a steel pan to allow the trains to pass over top. And our subcontractor, Burnco, will come later this year, install the structural steel.
It sounds like quite the project. When's this going to be done?
Our completion date right now is August 25. We're building the bridge this year. The goal is to have it done by Christmas with a nice bow on it. We have some preloading requirements for the embankment on either side of the bridge. And then come spring, we're going to remove the preload and then start building the rail lines in and connect into the rail line by August next year.
Sounds great. Sounds like a good Christmas present too, Harry. Thanks a lot.
I sure as heck hope so.
Right on. Well, listen, we'll keep in touch. We'll come back and check on the different phases of this project as it goes. How's that sound?
Sounds good. We're always here.
All right. Let's go talk to the crew. Okay, so we are at the site of the future rail over bridge that's going to be built on the south part of the site, on the spur coming up into the rail yard. And I'm joined today by Neil and Brent from HCM. Guys, why don't you just give a quick introduction of what your roles are here on the site?
I'm the site site supervisor, sorry.
I am the overall superintendent for HCM Matcon for the pile driving end of the company.
Right on. And so behind us, this big machine that we see is a pile driver, obviously. So this is not a wrestling move. This is not a metaphor. This is a real pile driver. Tell us a bit about how this machine works.
So what he's doing right now, there's a diesel hammer, which actually just like a diesel engine because it requires resistance, oil, and compression and fuel. And it's trying to fire there now. So the operator engages it, drops the hammer, engages it, and when the hammer drops, as long as there's resistance, it starts to bounce back, and when it bounces back, it starts to fire up. As you can see right now, it's starting to fire. Until we get into some harder ground, it's going to take a little bit to get it to fire, and then once it fires, it'll continually drive itself, and then it'll stop for the welders to splice on the second section.
Okay, so how deep will these piles actually be driven in this process here?
The ones we're driving now are going to go about 40 feet, and then we're going to splice on another 40 feet, and it'll go about 80 feet into the ground. We have piles that are going to go 70 feet, and another that will go 60.
So what are the piles that are being driven actually made of? What are the piles?
They're 310 by 110 or 12 by 74 steel piles.
Okay, so actually these are them that we're standing in front of here. Okay, so there's quite a lot of piles that need to be driven here. How long is this process going to take you guys?
Roughly about a month, about 4 weeks. And the welders so the welders come in and they put the end plate on, boots, and then they prep it for the splice. So once the pile driver brings it down to the height for the welders to weld, and then we will bring in a support crane and it will hoist, and the welders will weld the top part of the piling on.
Okay. Is there anything special that has to happen in the welds for piles like this that are going to have that compression on that joint as they're getting hammered down?
Once they're completed, they get ultrasonic tested or UT tested, and it's a non-destructive way to actually ensure that the weld is properly filled. And then once the weld has been properly inspected, we put diamond plates on and weld all the way around to help ensure that the weld's going to stay stronger. And then with the 70 and 65 foot piles, they're one length. So that way the steel itself actually absorbs all the stresses and energy that's being put into it.
That's really cool. You know, I've heard people say before that the pile driving crews are the most important crew on the job site. Would you guys agree with that assessment?
Absolutely.
Well, that's our update for this week. Like and subscribe on YouTube and stay tuned for another little update coming soon.